Hey, what's up, guys? Today in this video, I'm going to be going over a common issue in Porsche 944s, and that is a no start condition. And where I'm at in the phase of my testing is I'm actually testing the DME relay to see if the relay is bad. Let me just switch to my other screen real quick. Basically, if you don't know about this site, it's called clarksgarage.com. And it hosts a huge amount of information related to repairs and troubleshooting the Porsche 944, the early models and the older models as well. I'm in the section DME Relay Technical Information and Testing, and a lot you can read this stuff if you want. I'm not really going to go over it here, but it does go over a couple of conditions that might apply to you. One thing I will go over is this 3-lead emergency jumper wire. This is good if your relay dies and you're on the road. You can use this to actually get home and further diagnose the issue. But for now, I'll leave that till later. Here's an actual diagram of the actual physical relay. This is a picture of the newer style fuse box. This is the actual DME relay for that box. This is the actual fuse panel for my particular car. I have what's known as an 85-1, which is made in the first half of 1985. The particular relay we're dealing with is number 2 right here, and we're going to get back into that. But right now, I'm at this phase of I'm actually going to electrically test it and see whether or not the actual relay itself is bad. So let me switch back to the screen. Get my stuff set up. I have a little cheat here. I don't know if you guys can see that. I don't know if it's going to focus. Basically, the one on this side is the actual bottom of the relay. This one is the actual pinout on the socket itself, and I'm just using it for reference to make sure I'm using the right pins. Oh, and disclaimer, I like to talk a lot, and if you don't like that, sorry, then this video is not for you. Sounds like a you problem, not a me problem. But anyway, let's get back to it. Looking at the directions from Clark's Garage, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a resistance reading. Let me just make sure I'm on resistance. Let me fix this so you can see it. Okay. Now I'm going to test pins 30 and 87B. So here's pin 30 and here's pin 87B. My resistance reading should be 1. It is currently 1. Now again, we're going to go from pin 30, and this time we're going to go to pin 87. So we're going to go to 87. We get a reading of 1. Okay, good. That part checks out. Now, we need to actually hook up power to this and then check the resistance across some more pins. Okay, so I'm going to connect my positive lead. I'm going to connect that to 85B, which is this little top thin one. Okay, and then I'm going to attach negative to 87, which is the little thicker one right below it. And I should have my 12 volt. Let me just turn it on. I did hear the relay switch, so I know that I have power. And now I'm going to take a resistance reading from pin 30 to pin 87B. Let me just make sure I got a really good contact. And it should be between 0.1 and 0.3. And that's actually reading a little high. 0.7. Okay, let me just turn this power off. Just want to make sure I got a good connection with everything. Got to double check, right? Okay, and I'm going to reapply power. I did hear it switch, and we're going to go pin 30. And 87B. The resistance is 0.8, 0.7. That's a little high. It should be between 1 and 3 ohms. It's going down, but it shouldn't. It's too high. So, all right, we're going to turn that off. First one, well, first preliminary check, it's failing. Next check, we're going to connect 12 volt across pins 85 and 86. But we're going to have to reverse it. There's a diode in the circuit, so we have to switch them. Okay? So we're going to take positive and hook that to pin 86. And we're going to take negative to pin 85. Okay? I'm going to apply power. I did hear the relay switch. And now this should be the same reading. So I have to go from pin 30 to pin 87. And again, a 0.8 or a 0.9. This is clearly pointing to a bad relay. It shouldn't, the reading should not be this high. So it means that this relay is in fact bad. So, looks like I just might have to buy a new relay. Okay, so now that we've established the relay is bad, let me go over a couple more things. Switch back to my second monitor. We're done with this. Let me turn this off. Unhook this. Now, if you do find yourself in a position where your DME relay has failed and your car can't start, you can actually you install an emergency jumper, and that's what I was talking about before. But I'm just going to go over this really quick just so that you guys have all the information. Basically, there's a couple of opinions about this. I prefer the first method, and I'll explain why. You install the jumpers across 30, 87, and 87B on the fuse panel. Some people will tell you to do 86, 87, and 87B instead. This allows you to only run the fuel pump DME injectors when needing a switch turned on. Realize that the wire supplying power from the switch, ignition switch to terminal 86 is 1 millimeter and is only intended to carry enough current to pick up the coil. The wire connected to terminal 30 is 4 millimeter, which is designed to carry full current demand. I strongly recommend using 30 instead of 86 to supply power. It's actually very simple to make one of these. It's basically just 3 male spade adapters, and you put 2 on one side, 1 on the other with a little barrel in the connector to connect them, and you hook them up in 87, 87B, and then 30 last, because that'll kick in the fuel pump, and then you can actually start your car. There have been people that have successfully done this trick, although I've never had to try it. Is you just take a paper clip and you wrap it around the same pins, and it does effectively the same thing. This is helpful if you're on the road. You know, work with what you got. But you have to make sure that when the card's off, you remove them. You can't leave them. It will damage the DME and the relay. So you want to make sure that as soon as you're back, you pull that and fix the problem. You can pull it and inspect it. I don't know if I showed this before, but here, let me pop this open. Basically, you open this up and you look on the inside and you just verify the connections. You know, anything that's cracked or anything like that. I mean, in a lot of cases, it's easier just to redo the whole thing. Basically, this is what the back of it looks like. Very simple. It's not very complicated. You know, you turn it around. It's got the coils and here to energize when various things happen. They're actually they last a long time if you take care of them. So I think I'm actually going to end up reflowing this whole thing. I might just buy a diode and a resistor just to refresh them too. And maybe I'll leave that for another video and just buy a new one. But for now, I just wanted to show you guys the procedure on how to test on whether or not your relay is actually bad. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys later. Thanks.